midbrain, and upper part of midbrain has name tectum, and tectum has 4 tubercles, caliculi, superior and inferior, quadrigeminal caliculus, and from inferior caliculus start brachium of inferior caliculus. And now I will describe isthmus rhombencephaly. Isthmus is on the border between rhombencephalon and midbrain, and isthmus consists of superior peduncles of cerebellum. Superior peduncle start from midbrain and go to cerebellum. Superior peduncle of cerebellum here and here. In space between superior peduncles, we have white matter, and name of this white matter velum medullare superior. And this triangle, borders of this triangle, in front inferior brachium of inferior caliculus, posteriorly that is superior peduncles of cerebellum, and inferiorly here it is, that is peduncles of the brain, pedunculi cerebri. And name of this triangle is trigonum lemnisci. Trigonum lemnisci. One again, triangle trigonum lemnisci, together with superior peduncles of cerebellum and velum medullaris superior. All of these structures together formed isthmus rhombencephaly. Clear it is? Now, what we can see here. First of all, what is this department of brain? Medulla oblongata. It is fissura mediana anterior. That is pyramids, and here are liver. That is inferior peduncles of cerebellum, here and here. These two inferior peduncles formed inferior angle of rhomboid fossa. All of this dorsal surface of medulla and pons, all of this dorsal surface has shape like rhomb, and inferior angle of this rhomb,
V-shape.
yes, V shape, you are right, that is inferior peduncles of cerebellum. And rhomboid fossa, that is the floor of the fourth ventricle. We continue about it after some minutes. Now, here it is, from this place start superior peduncles and go to cerebellum. Look here, that is midbrain, and from midbrain start superior peduncle. You can see it here. That is superior peduncle, go to cerebellum, and space between superior peduncles, it's closed with velum medullare superior. That is a part of superior velum, velum medullare superior. And triangle trigonum lemnisci. Borders of this triangle, posteriorly superior peduncle of cerebellum, in front that is brachium of inferior caliculus, and inferior wall that is pedunculi cerebri, peduncles of the brain. Here it is triangle trigonum lemnisci, and here it is the same. That is brachium of inferior caliculus. Here it is superior peduncles of cerebellum and pedunculi cerebri, trigonum lemnisci. Some words about cerebellum. Cerebellum consists of two hemispheres, that is right hemisphere and left is absent. Right and left hemisphere, and space between hemisphere, it's occupy unpaired structure, has name vermis. Vermis is unpaired structure in space between right and left hemisphere. surface of cerebellum, has a lot of fissures, fissura cerebelli, and this fissura separates cerebellum into folia cerebelli. And deepest fissure, fissura horizontalis cerebelli, here it is. It divides cerebellum into dorsal and ventral parts. Now, here it is. In the angle between medulla oblongata and middle peduncle of cerebellum, in this space we can see isolated part of cerebellum. Here it is. And name of this part flocculus. And from this flocculus start peduncle, and this peduncle go to vermis and formed and joined with nodulus. Flocculus and nodulus are oldest part of cerebellum, and together with nucleus fascigii, these structures together formed archicerebellum, oldest part of cerebellum, and function of this oldest part is balance. Next, vermis, together with another two nuclei, nucleus globosus and nucleus emboliformis, formed old part, paleocerebellum, and function of this paleocerebellum is coordination of movements of the trunk and neck, movements of muscles of the trunk and neck. And new part of cerebellum, that is hemisphere, together with nucleus dentatus, that is coordination of movements of extremity, upper and lower extremity. And last moment about cerebellum, you already know that cerebellum has how many pairs of peduncles? 3. Today you know inferior, today you prepare inferior peduncles and middle peduncles. And today I explain you superior peduncles. You already know which tracts pass through middle peduncle. Ponto cerebellaris. Very good. Only one tract pass through medial peduncles of cerebellum. That is tractus ponta cerebellaris. In inferior peduncles, please, which tracts pass? 4. Good.
Spinocerebellaris posterior,
Good.
olivocerebellaris and cerebello-olivaris.
Okay, very good. And the same vestibular nuclei has a communication with cerebellum through tractus vestibula. Cerebellaris is also necessary to remember. In inferior peduncles, vestibula cerebellaris. And superior peduncles has 2 tracts. One of them you also know, you already know, that is tractus spina cerebellaris anterior. And another tract starts from cerebellum and go to midbrain, and name of this tract tractus cerebella tegmentalis. That is new tract for you, cerebella tegmentalis. And now, in space between rhomboid fossa and cerebellum, we have cavitas. Name of this cavitas, 4th ventricle, ventriculus quartus. Quarta, that is 4 in Latin, quarta. Ventriculus quartus, that is 4th ventricle. Floor of this ventricle, we already said, that is rhomboid fossa. And roof, I want to explain what is the roof of the 4th ventricle. Roof of the 4th ventricle, it's look like tent, look here. It has, yes, it consists of 2 parts, anterior and posterior part. Anterior part of this roof formed, look here, that is superior peduncles of cerebellum, 1, it is another superior peduncle, And space between them, what is it? Velum medullaria superior. That is white matter. Look here. I already show you that is superior peduncle and velum medullaria, that is anterior part of the roof of the fourth ventricle. Now, posterior part of the roof. It is pedunculi floculi, pedunculus floculus, here and here, pedunculi floculi, and velum medullaria inferior is paired structure. Superior velum is unpaired, but inferior velum consists of two halves, and each half attached to pedunculus floculus. That is why posterior wall of the roof formed with the help of pedunculi floculi and two halves of inferior velum, velum medullaria inferior. And above of these structures we have cerebellum, and inside of fourth ventricle here it is all of this space and this space closed with the help of telechoroidea. Telechoroidea consists of plexus choroidus. Do you remember choroid artery, arteria choroidea? That is branch of which artery? Arteria choroidea start from internal. What internal?
Internal artery, external, internal.
Carotid.
Carotid.
Arteria carotis interna. Do you remember Willis cycle? That is internal carotid artery, arteria cerebri anterior, communicans anterior, communicans posterior, and arteria choroidea. This choroid artery, arteria choroidea, it's make network plexus choroidus, and this plexus choroidus together with epithelium formed telechoroidea. And telechoroidea, a function of this tele, it's produced cerebrospinal fluid. That is importance of this telechoroidea. And telechoroidea has three openings in the roof of the fourth ventricle. One opening unpaired, here it is, that is apertura mediana ventriculi quarti. Here it is opening, apertura mediana ventriculi quarti. Apertura mediana ventriculi quarti, and two openings laterally here and here, apertura lateralis ventriculi quarti. And we said that fluid in fourth ventricle, cerebrospinal fluid, produced with the help of telechoroidea, and then this fluid, it should drainage or pass from ventricle outside from brain into subarachnoid space. And way for cerebrospinal fluid, these three openings, two lateral openings and one median, apertura mediana and apertura lateralis. What happened if these openings closed, for example, in time of inflammation of meninges? You know what is meningitis? Meningitis, the inflammation of meninges of brain. And if these openings closed in time of meningitis, what happened? Cerebrospinal fluid produced, but there is no way for go outside, yes. And what happened? Do you know what is hydrocephalia? Hydrocephalia, that is a lot of fluid inside of brain, but there is no way for go of this fluid outside. Clear? That is very, very important openings in the roof of the fourth ventricle. Two lateral openings and one median. Give me your manual, please. Next time, we prepare cerebellum, isthmus, and fourth ventricle till rhomboid fossa. Rhomboid fossa not necessary to read till this place.
Okay.
Yes. till rhomboid fossa. That is all.